We know this ain't right.
Man, this can't be life.
We gotta unite.
Be Frankie.
Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out, we're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out, we're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out, we're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out, we're stuck in the matrix.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy B-Dell. If you're new to this channel, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But in today's segment, I'm going to give divine clarity on the solar frequency judgment to where the veil is being uplifted that was controlled by the Cabal, who is the deep state oligarch trilateral connection of democracy that subjugated and lowered the frequency of humanity for the last 6,000 years because they're being controlled by draconian reptilian archons. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we're finna get straight to it. Now, in order to understand the future intuitively, in order to understand modern day current events intuitively, you have to be able to understand the delineation of the Great Separation, right? You got to understand what the Great Separation is about, because if you don't know who the enemy is, you're not able to decipher the enemy. You won't be able to understand what's going on an energetic level when you're talking about these secret societies that's being propagated by a technocrat system, right? Because the foundation of a great reset and a great separation, that is basically the premises of the paradigm shift that we're going through. So in order to deviate from the enemy, you got to know who the enemy is. So that's basically the foundation of this video. So these are the ones that's basically in control when you're talking about the whole technocrat system of democracy as we're going through a metamorphic shift on this planet. You got the Freemasons, then you got the Jesuit order, you got the Vatican. Then you got the inception of everything that's connected to the 200 fallen angels when you're talking about the black nobility, because when you understand the allegory of the Canaanite bloodline through the Levitical law, they talk about how the 200 fallen angels, when they came down, they mated with the daughters of men. The mated with the daughters of men, that is the Canaanite bloodline, which is basically compiled and compulated of your 13 bloodlines of your so-called Illuminati or your plutocracy or your oligarchs. And these are the ones who control your United Nations, that's connected to NATO, that's connected to the CFR, the IMF, and the World Economic Forum. Now, once you understand that, you got to understand that Nazism, socialism, Marxism, communism, Zionism, and the Bolsheviks also are in conjunction with the Khazarian Mafia, and the Khazarian Mafia are the ones that's basically the foundation of the democratic order who do the bidding of the Ukrainians. So this is what you're looking at right now is the foundation of a satanic Luciferian society, right? So that's what you got to understand. All this stuff is connected when you're talking about these secret societies, because it's connected to a so-called bloodline of the Canaanite, which is basically the cursed seed when you understand Levitical law, because they were cursed with leprosy, right? We're going to get into that. Now, this coincides with the shift. The reason I say that is because everything that the Canaanite basically built up in Westernized civilization and Westernized society, that's why you go to El's Holy Injil, Revelation chapter 17, verbatim, it says that the evil reptilian gave power to the beast. The reptilians are basically the draconian reptilian archons who control the black nobility, and the black nobility control the Canaanite bloodline. So that's where you get your whole inception point of your Canaanites being getting power from the draconian reptilian, because they got their power to control the three-dimensional matrix system through the television, through finances, through international central banking systems, through national banking systems. These are the corporations and enterprises that they reap the benefits of, that's connected to the black nobility, right? And this, like I said, this is all connected to the fact that as the planet is going through a shifting process, what you got to understand is that the geomagnetic energy in the magnetic field of the planet, these solar frequencies, is going to cause a great separation. So it's either you're going to follow the people who control these systems, or you're going to follow the energetic frequency of the Most High, right? When you're talking about the path of Anu, right? So like I said, you're going to have to, you're going to have to make a choice. It's either you're going to follow the ones who are in control of the Khazarian mafia, the Ukrainians, the Democrats. It's either you follow their system or you go to a different direction, right? Which is a purposeful direction, right? Which is rooted in righteousness. So that's why, you know what I'm saying, when you look at it from that perspective, this is why you gotta read this book right here. Because all this works in conjunction when you're talking about the Canaanite. You got to read this book right here called The Blue-Eyed Beast, right? And I told you the beast is actually not an actual animal. It's a representation of a bloodline that was cursed with leprosy. So now when you go, as the planet is going through a metamorphic shift, we're shifting into a different paradigm. You're going from the age of Pisces, the Piscean age, into the Aquarian age, which is galvanized by a sun cycle. So that's why when you go to the Denver airport, you look at this mural, right? You look at this mural, it is showing you the symbology of a shift that's taking place. So now right here, you see a leopard, which is the symbology of leprosy, which is connected to the beast of the Canaanite bloodline, right? So when you go to Dr. York's publication, Sleep Spell of Leviathan 666, it shows you the six-headed beast with the body of a leopard, because the leopard is actually the one who controls the three-dimensional matrix system, and they're being controlled by black nobility draconian archons who came down to this planet because they went against the abode of the Most High, who was Anu. So that's 1/3 of the galaxy that gave the power to the beast. That's why, like I said, Revelation 17:17, the evil reptilian gave power to the beast. So that's why when you look at this mirror right here in the Denver airport, it shows you that the leopard is laid out, meaning that this is the end of a cycle. So you see the mass destruction in the background, and you have the phoenix. So right now you see at the bottom, it has the resurrection of the indigenous woman as the cursed bloodline is being disseminated, right? Because they don't have the genetical frequency to survive the shift, right? So that's what this mirror is basically the symbology of. And also what you got to understand is that you have these DUMBs, which is the deep underground military bunker systems. They're basically in conjunction with the Denver airport, because as the planet is going through a shifting process, right, because of the energetic frequency of the sun, it's going to cause calamity. This is where the new capital goes. The new capital is going to be in Denver, somewhere around like Colorado or things of that nature. But like I said, what you're seeing right here at the bottom is a leopard, which is a representation of those who are cursed with leprosy, which is the beast who got their power from the draconian reptilian archons, right? Which is your so-called Canaanite bloodline. So like I said, you got to get this book right here, because it's all talking about how you have a certain demographic and a certain species who don't have the sun heat genes, which are prominences that connects them to the higher dimensions. In order to survive the metamorphic shift, you need a certain amount of melanocytes in order to reap the benefits of genetical self-preservation. So that's what this is talking about, right? So now, the reason that's going on is because like I said, you have a big rip in the universe, right? You have a big rip in the universe, and it goes in 10-year increments from 1943, 53, 63, 73, 83, 93, 2003, 2013, 2023. And that big rip in the universe, that's going to take place somewhere in August, right? To where you're going to have the magnetic field is going to be manipulated, because the magnetic field of the planet is connected to the ley lines, and the ley lines is connected to the grid system, and the grid system works on the quadrants of the moon, and the quadrants of the moon, there's a working symbiotic connection to a sun cycle, because the sun cycle is galvanized by the Aquarian energy, and the Aquarian energy basically combats the Piscean age, which is the lunar light lock that puts you under the sleep spell, right? So now we're going to go back a little bit, because like I told you, when I make these videos, man, I just be freestyling. I don't know. I just put my receipts together. I don't know how I'm going to put the video together. So now, like I said, the veil is being unlifted, and it's being caused to a geometric storm scale. So you got many different categories of these geometric storms, which is a compilation of coronal mass ejections. These are light code transmissions to where you're able to become a seer and see beyond the illusion with the two physical eyes, to where you activate the spiritual eye, which is connected to the neuroendocrine transducer, right? So these geomagnetic frequencies, right, they have the ability to weaken the grid of the power system of the matrix system. It can cause voltage corrections. It can cause high latitude power systems. It can basically cause widespread voltage controls, to where, you know, it can manipulate the whole grid system. And it also talks about widespread voltage control problems, and a protective system of the problems in the grids may experience complete collapse or blackouts, right? So now what you got to understand is that this is why the government has been putting out everything in increments, right? So this is not a good time to be riding on them airplanes. I keep telling people, stay off the airplanes, man. I've been telling y'all for about a year and a half to stay off the airplanes, because the airplanes is connected to the grid system. So when you have all technological devices basically being disseminated because you have a malfunction in the grid system, that's about, you know, at least 500,000 people dying all at once when the grid goes down, right? Because you got commercial airlines, you got military airlines. Like I said, this is all being caused by the energetic shift of the planet, because we in the sun cycle. So there's a video I'm going to do sometime coming up this week. I'm going to be talking about the solar transmissions of the three suns that's coming into our planet, which is coming from the 19th galaxy. You have three different types of suns, which is Utu, Apsu, and Shamus. And those three suns is basically a representation of your so-called new heaven and new earth, when you have the abode of the Most High that comes from planet Risk amalgamating with the 18th galaxy of planet Earth. I'm gonna make a video about that. So that's basically causing the ascension process. So that's why it's starting to get hotter on this planet. So that's why it says is that the most dangerous period is predicted for the 12th and the 13th of this month. So it's only going to get hotter on the planet, right? Because there's going to be it's going to come a time on this planet where it's going to be intrinsic solar radiation for 3 days straight, right? And the reason I say that is because that is basically your symbology of the fall of the lunar cycle that's controlled the patriarchy, because patriarchy has no room for the laws of nature under matriarchy, which is controlled by the Aquarian age, right? So that's why it says that in usually Power X solar flare erupted in the sun's surface on Sunday, causing blackout across the western United States and the Pacific. So like I said, everything's going through a shifting process, and it's happening because the energy of the sun. We in the sun cycle, because everything that's connected to the material world, is not acclimated to the laws of nature, because nature must take back the planet, right? So this is why you see King Charles right here. I'm gonna show you this video. He is activating the climate clock. The reason he's activating the climate clock because he knows that their time is up, right? Because he is also a part of that Canaanite bloodline. Because the Canaanite bloodline, they don't have the genetical frequency to survive the shift. So this is why you have so many people, come up missing as we going through a metamorphic shift, because they need a certain divinity in order to survive the shift. So it's all based on eugenics and genetical self-preservation. I'm gonna play the video. So like I said, you got to have carbon, you got to have this meat suit in order to survive the shift. And they don't have the shift. So that's why they activate the climate clock, because they are the cursed seed, and the cursed seed, you're cursed with leprosy, meaning that you lack the sun heat gene prominences. I'm gonna play the video.
Clock at a summit in London this afternoon. It triggers 150 similar clocks across the major cities of the UK, counting down the seconds to 2030. The estimated deadline for limiting climate change to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels. But the UK's climate watchdog had a stern warning for the government today. The Climate Change Committee said its confidence that the government would meet its own legally binding targets for cutting emissions by the end of the decade had fallen markedly.
But see, that's what I'm saying. They see that everything they showing you everything in the public domain. Everything is not a secret no more. They know that their time is up, but it's up to you to develop the mental fortitude to decipher is if their time is up. So this is why everything in the material world is starting to phase out, because they know what time it is, right? So like I said, that climate clock is also conducive to the fact that everything that's connected to a technocrat system. When you have a technocrat system, right, everything is based on artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is connected to the eugenic system. So when you start to listen to their propagation of genetically modified foods and all these nanotechnologies that's inside the what, this is where you get 850 deaths in 2 weeks. Because what happens is that the sun dematerializes everything that's connected to all technological devices that's connected to the ley lines of the grid system, right? Which works on the energetic quadrants of the moon. So everything that's connected to the moon is connected to material, because everything that's connected to material must be dematerialized by the solar transmission of the sun. So if you're stuck in material because you want to get paid and things of that nature, and you want to follow with the system of the Canaanite bloodline, and because you have a veneration for democracy, you're going to fall when the system falls, right? So I'm going to play this video.
So here I have some facts for y'all to go and read. You know how we're investigating about this whole Monterey thing in Mexico, where people are dropping dead? And everybody's got their own hypothesis. Yes, I know everybody's going to think whatever they want to think, but here are...
But like, I ain't going to play because she says certain things that, I don't want to get my page, flagged for what she says. But this is a real thing. This is a real thing that's going on. Because what you got to understand is when you got that draconian juice inside of you, that is basically nanotechnology. It's a nanotechnology that puts an encryption on the body, and it tethers you to the grid system. So when the grid goes down, this is where you have your so-called your great separation. When you have a great separation, because those who are acclimated to the system, they fall along with the Canaanite beasts, as everybody who was a part of the 144,000 chosen ones, they ascend to the higher dimensions because they didn't have a veneration for those who was connected to the draconian archons, who basically control the Canaanite beasts of the matrix system, right? Hold on, I got a video. So with that being said, where's it at? I'm looking for a video. Now, like I said, we freestyling. Now, like as I told you before, you have an open vortex, and it's going to happen around sometime in August. I say anywhere from August 12th to 18th. So this is where you have a manipulation in the grid system, where you have these solar frequencies and these solar energies, that's hitting the planet. This is pure intrinsic gamma radiation that is being controlled by the Aquarian age, right? Which is galvanized by a sun cycle. So it goes all the way from 1943, 53, 63, 73, 83, 93, 2003, 13 to 2023. And it's going to happen sometime in August. So as I was putting this together, I even came across a download while I was doing this, right? Because what you got to understand is that this is all connected to your so-called invasion, right? So the veil is being uplifted because the veil in itself is connected to the fact that you can only see 10% of the electromagnetic spectrum because the electromagnetic spectrum is being manipulated to where it only activates the two physical eyes and not the spiritual eye because you're under a grid system. The grid system is the sleep spell to where you cannot see these malevolent extraterrestrial species when you're talking about these draconians, right? So that Aquarian energy, that divine feminine energy, when you have that big rip in our solar system, right? When you have these energies coming in, that's where the veil is going to be uplifted to where you start to see these entities, right? So that's why this is in conjunction to the movie Snakes on the Plane, all right? I just got this download because, like I said, Snakes on the Plane, there was an incident with a woman. She came across a draconian or a shapeshifter while she was on a plane, and she was scared, about her encounter, and she wanted to get off the airplane. So it's not a coincidence that when I looked up the date of this movie, the movie came out in August 18, 2006, which is also in conjunction to the fact that you're going to have a big open vortex around the time when this movie had came out back in 2006. So in August 2023, from anywhere from August 12th to the 18th, you're going to have an open vortex to where you're going to have these new energies coming in. So now this is also in conjunction, right? We're going to line it up. We're going to piece all this together because, like I said, it's not a coincidence. This is where this woman, on the airplane, she became across a shapeshifter, a serpent, right? A malevolent serpent who went against the order of Anu, who is 1/3 of the 200 fallen angels who came down to this planet and met up with the daughters of the man who are the Canaanite. I'm going to play the video.
The new video made by another passenger who was on the flight the woman on the plane was on, who became distraught when she realized she was supposedly sitting next to a shapeshifter.
All right, I need you to understand something. Also, the higher you get up into the atmosphere, it can cause a malfunction in the grid system. I told you all technology is connected to the grid. So it's probably a lot more the likelihood of you seeing a shapeshifter is if you're on an airplane. You know what I'm saying? Because you're actually out of the atmospheric realm that's being controlled by materialism. So when you get up into, outside of this, when you start hitting the ionosphere and things of that nature, this is where you see a dematerialization of everything in the physical. You can start activating the spiritual eye. You can see certain things.
This is a new video made.
She wants to get off the plane because, like I said, we're going through a time period right now to where people, there a lot of people on a spiritual level and also on the physical level, they're not ready to see certain things, because we've been mentally indoctrinated to pass things off as a conspiracy, as entertainment, or as mythology. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show you this other video.
Okay, guys, watch. Okay.
So with that being said,
Okay, guys, watch.
one thing you got to understand is that the context of the video, some people saying that she wasn't arguing with somebody or whatever, but the context of what she's talking about somebody, talking about, people on the planet is going to die. You know what I'm saying? So that means that she came across something that had some type of negative, some type of negative energy. You know what I'm saying? The energy doesn't lie. So, this can be a psyop, or it could be something that's very real. But like I said, you have to understand, you have to develop the spiritual fortitude and the discernment in order to decipher if this is real or if it's fake. So she's seen something, right? The veil is being lifted because I told you the veil is connected to the grid system, and the grid system is connected to the ley lines, and the ley lines is what puts you under the sleep spell of to where it only activates the two physical eyes, right? So that spiritual eye is going to be activated to where you're able to see certain entities, right? So with that being said, you see that she was on an airplane, right? So this is a time, like I tell people all the time, stay off the airplanes, because when you have a malfunction in the grid system, you know what I'm saying, you're going to go down when the system falls. You know what I'm saying? It's inevitable. The World Economic Forum put it in the public domain verbatim 2 years ago, said that we could face a EMP attack and it's inevitable to happen. But the thing is, it's not going to be an EMP. It's going to be a CME. These are coronal mass ejections. These are energetic frequencies that's coming from the fifth dimension, which is the 19th galaxy, the abode of the Most High. So I told you, I'm going to do another video talking about how you got Planet Risk, right, which is in the 19th galaxy, right? So you got the three suns. You got Utu, Apsu, and Shamish. And these three suns is connected to the mythology of the red and the blue star Kachina. And these is what's going to cause the activation of the pole shift. That's why I'm gonna break it down in the next video. I don't want to spoil it for you. But everything in the material world and everything that's connected to technology got to go. You know what I'm saying? Thousands of flights canceled, right? Airlines suffered fourth day. Then you got the airport reporting hundreds of flights delayed. Then you got flight cancellations, you know what I'm saying, due to third-party storms or whatever. Delayed flights, over 1,000 flights canceled, severe weather. Like I said, as the planet is going through this metamorphic shift, stay off the airplanes, bro. Like, I mean, it don't get no cut and dry than that. You know what I'm saying? So now, there's another video I'm going to show you. Because I told you, the planet is going through a shift. So this guy's going to be exposing how he was in the military. You have these deep underground bunker systems, right? That's controlled by the military industrial complex, which is also connected to the totalitarian feudalistic technocracy of the deep state shadow government, right? They are being controlled, and they have these underground bunker systems in order to survive the shift. Because when you read this book right here, it tells you that the prophetic divination of the Canaanite beast and how they're going to try to go inside these underground bunker systems. So that's how you can know who's who and what's what, just based upon the fact that they have a certain temporal self-preservation as the planet is going through a shifting process, because they can't escape judgment. And the only way they can escape judgment for a temporal standpoint is when they go inside the caverns of the planet, because they can't really go inside the depths of the planet, because that's when you got hollow earth, when you're talking about the city of Shambhala, the crystal city, and Argarthi and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? They're not connected to those ancient civilizations that's inside the planet. They can only go so far inside the caverns of the earth to escape judgment, but they're not going to be able to escape judgment because they don't have the genetical structure in the sun heat genes in order to survive the shift, right? So you got to have a certain anatomy to survive the shift. So if you curse with leprosy, you have that Canaanite bloodline, right? Those are the ones that's being controlled by Draconian reptilian archons. So this is why the guy is talking about archons and Draconian reptilians in this video. I'm gonna play the video.
Goes underground.
Underground, completely underground.
Without
Having to come up. And there's turnoffs. You need security clearances to get through these turnoffs. They go into other bases. They go into other areas, secret places you can't go.
And what do they do there?
They do a lot of things. I can tell you one thing. They have 2 sets of elevators. And my security clearance got me down to the main hub, which is as big as Manhattan. I mean, it's as big as Manhattan. It's unbelievable. They have acres of farmland with lights.
Farmland
Underground. They run the lights off nuclear.
Underground.
Yeah, go through. They have livestock. I mean, everything. Yeah. They have everything. They have bench shafts. They have everything. But the 2 sets of elevators I was telling you about, my clearance, I can only go down to the main hub. Then there was another set of elevators that brought you down further. And a bunch of friends of mine would tell me stories about that.
Can you tell us anything about those stories?
Yeah, I can tell you what they told me. What they told me is there's actual aliens, grays.
Wait.
Aliens.
What was the word, grays?
Grays. And also there's another kind. There's different species that they talk about. There's grays, there's reptilians, all different kinds.
A gray is a type of alien.
Right. It's not really an alien, it's a drone. It's not really it's like an organic drone. That's exactly what it is.
What does that mean, an organic drone?
It's not a living thing. It's in living tissue, but it's a drone. They're not real.
So he's right about that. They're basically drones. Because I told you, some of the grays, especially some of the ones are the Zeta Reticular grays, those are the malevolent ones. They're basically the type of grays that was created. They're basically like the Frankenstein of extraterrestrials. That's why, you know what I'm saying, when they come to this planet, there's a lot of, cow mutilations and things of that nature, and they need to absorb the energy of biosludge. So now, hold on. I got something for you. Let me see. Like I said, this book that I got right here is very important because it tells you about the shift, and it tells you in this book about how as a planet is going through a shifting process, the Canaanite, as part of the revelation, they're going to try to go inside the caverns of the earth to escape judgment. Right? So what they doing, what's going on is, hold on. Yeah, that's what I forgot to show you. What's going on is that, you got to have the etheric frequency in order to survive the shift. You know what I'm saying? You got to be vibrating at a certain vibration, right? You got to have a certain genetical structure in order to survive the shift. So the Canaanite, due to ontological evidence, archaeological evidence, it tells you who's who and what's what just based upon DNA. So if you're cursed with leprosy, that means that you don't have the healing modalities and the healing properties and the healing faculties to where your chakra system harmonizes with planet Earth, because I told you the planet Earth also has a chakra system. So you gotta be connected to the circadian rhythm and the biorhythm of planet Earth, which puts the body in alignment to connect with your higher self, which is the oversoul, which is the etheric body. So you got many different types of ether. You got first ether, which is the electrical ether. Then you got the second ether, which is the life ether. Then you got the third ether, which is the light ether. And the fourth ether, which is basically the personification of individuality that's connected to the mental reflection of who you are by the unification of the soul and the spirit, to where you are seeing beyond the physical and mundane trivial afflictions of the matrix system, right? So when you lack the substance of ether, right, you don't reap the benefits of that prana, right? You don't reap the benefits of that energy as the planet is going through a metamorphic shift, because you have an encryption on your anatomy. And that encryption is based on a lunar light lock, and the lunar light lock has a cursed energy to it. So that's why people who are following the Canaanite bloodline, who are your plutocracy, who controls government, when you follow them, you fall when they fall. I'm gonna keep telling you that, right? So when you read this right here, it says the entire universe, from the spirit to the human, is a product of one substance. It is the primary and the basic substance out of which the earth and the heavens are made of, right? Which is basically carbon. Everything. Carbon is the building block of all civilization. So if you don't have this carbon, you don't have that non-ether, you're not going to be able to ascend, right? So that's why I'm saying, this is why, as you know, these solar frequencies, when you have these geomagnetic storms, these solar transmissions that's hitting the planet, it actually causes a revitalization of your genetical sequence. So the body is going to try to force itself to align with the planet as it's copulating with the fifth dimension. So that's why it tells you visualize a channel of the green light, right, from Anu to Melchizedek, flowing downward through the crown and the seat into the physical body. So a lot of people during this time period are going to get sick. This is where you should be fasting, right? Because like I told you, you're a light body trapped inside of a light prism, which creates a physical reality under the carbonatic structure. Because when you slow down the vibration of ether, it becomes physical through the visible light spectrum, right? Which is copulated to the solar transmission, where you get dark matter, which is carbon, physical, a physical vessel to where the material world can take place, right? So like I said, in order to survive the shift, you got to deviate. You got to go through a fasting process. I told you, when you look at the acronym of fasting, you fast from food, you fast from alcohol, right? You fast from sex, and then you transmutate, right? That's the process of fasting. So you got to transmutate that energy as an alchemical resource, and you use it as a form of alchemy to connect with your higher self, right? Because like I said, if you're still following everything that's connected to the grid system, because the grid system, it has to dematerialize because the veil is being uplifted. And when the veil is uplifted, that's when, the house of cards basically starts to fall. Everything that was connected to the material world that was being controlled by Black nobility, draconian archons, and the Canaanite bloodline, right? So this green light energy sweeps the disease particles out of the body, right? So this is why a lot of people are starting to get ascension symptoms or whatever. So a lot of people are going through a process where they're starting to get sick. You know what I'm saying? They think it's their allergies. They think they having, IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. They think they getting this stuff is because they really think they're getting sick. These are ascension symptoms to where the body is trying to harmonize with planet Earth. It's trying to harmonize with the sun cycle. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, since I got all that stuff out the way, right? Now, for those who purchased the book, please follow instructions. You go to the Planet X Cosmic Convergence website. For those who purchased the book, check your emails. When you get your email, the guy, who basically put everything together, the audio book and the cinematic format of the book, he's been giving emails out to people and nobody's been checking their emails. So for those who purchased the book, when you get the email, it emails you the password of the book. So when you says right here, it says click here to listen to the Tomo Macavia audiobook. When you click that link right there, it's going to tell you the password, but you got to get the password through your email, right? So like I said, for the people who, listen to the audiobook, a lot of people said, it feels like a movie. You know what I'm saying? It's, it's next level. And you know what I'm saying? It was one of these things that we put this together pretty quick. So the next one that we're going to come out with in the next month and a half is going to be really good. So please purchase this book. I'm gonna leave the link in the bio of this video to where other people can, understand that, entertainment works in synergy when you try to propagate a certain truth to people. Because you can't just, give the edification to the people just based on lectures. We want to get, we trying to reach the children, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody got to, you know, see everything through visualization. Everybody's got to see things through audio form. And some people, like I said, they learn different. Some people learn through the lectures, which is why I have so many receipts when I make these videos, right? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the veil is being uplifted, because I told you the veil is the sleep spell, and the sleep spell is galvanized by the ley lines of the grid system that works in the quadrants of the moon, because the moon is what controls the material world, and the material world is being controlled by the Canaanite bloodline, who are being controlled by draconian reptilian archons who came down to this planet. When you read the book of Enoch, you had the 200 fallen angels. This is where you got to understand the story, because you got to understand like where all this stuff comes from. When the 200 fallen angels, when they went against the order of Anu, that's 1/3 of the galaxy. 1/3 of the galaxy, these 200 fallen angels, they came down and made it with the daughters of men, who was a Canaanite. The Canaanite is your 13 bloodlines of your so-called Illuminati, or the deep state trilateral connection of the plutocracy and the oligarchy, right? They are the ones that's basically controlling your matrix system, and they're being controlled by archons or draconian reptilians, or whatever you want to call them, whatever mythology that you follow, because it's all connected to Gnosticism. Now, also one thing you got to understand is that, you know, all this stuff is connected to the negative energy of the political system, right? Because like I told you, everything is rooted in etymology. You got to break down these words. So when you break down the word democracy, right, through the Coptic text, you get demokitos, right, which equates to kratos, chronology, which is the foundation of the Saturn Moon matrix, right? Chronos, chronology, kratos, Father Time, Serapis, right, which is the Saturn Moon matrix, to where you're trapped in an artificial time analysis mechanism. And when you're trapped in time, you're trapped into material, and the material is being controlled by the Canaanite, who is being controlled by the draconian reptilian archons, who works on the magneto-hydrodynamic Cassini gaps on the rings of Saturn, that is basically controlled by the dark side of the moon. I broke that down already. You got to watch that the fake moon video that I put out probably about like a month ago, right? So that's who is controlling this system through the dark side of the moon, is your archons, who control everything through the Canaanite, through the material world. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching this video. Get this video out there. End of transmission.